All right, Blake, you want to pull your chair up here? Who am I making this out to? Angel. Angel? I love it.
I didn't check Facebook. I'm like,
You get to keep them.
I don't know. It's like they try to
Little
push you
magnetic
to
bookmarks. I
click
see
on stuff. Yes.
butterflies everywhere.
Sometimes I look like porn, but it's not.
So much. Thank you. Okay, Nyla. I'm taking 2 of these. Okay. All right, I just need to make sure we can hear. Nyla, you ready to do some? We're gonna do. So we have Lopa here and one of Caiden'S organ recipients. So you'll be able to kind of hear our story and the benefits of Lopa. How would you like this? Let's see. This is Leighton. He's got Caiden'S liver. So he's one of Caiden'S organ recipients. And I know it is loud because we're in the middle of Barnes and Noble. You can pull, we may have to just pull it up to make sure we can hear it. Even if we have to just step back behind us. Our camera's going janky. I should have tagged all in it too.
Like this.
Yeah, look, you can pull the thing up right there. Like let that go and you can fit. There we go. Okay. All right. So this is Nyla. She's with Lopa. She's now our family, but just to kind of let y'all know like how this whole thing works and yeah. So
Okay, I'm
there you
so
go.
thrilled to be here. And I know
Probably.
it's just this is just a beautiful story, and I mean I feel like y'all two could talk without me, but so Caden, our hero, your hero, gave life.
Can you hear? I would talk louder.
So Caden, our hero, gave life to Leighton, and so Leighton, what was it like to find the letter or hear from Maggie that her son gave you life?
So when I got in the liver, a lot of people don't know when your liver goes bad, it'll start affecting your mind. So there's a lot of going on.
You can pull that up a little bit. We just want to make sure they can hear. There we go.
So there's a lot that I don't remember. So as I progressed through recovery, I started to remember things here and there and stuff like that. And someone had asked me, "Do you want to know who your donor was?" And I was like, "Yes, I'd love to." I said, "But not right now." This was a very trying time for myself and for my family. Without thoughts and prayers and the Lord above, I couldn't have done it. And of course, this gracious and loving family that we have. And I pray every day because of their sacrifice that they have made. and the thankfulness that we have as a family now for me to still be here. Anyhow, so what I did, I said, I knew all along that I wanted to reach out, right? At least to save family. And so as I progressed, there was a lot of milestones that I wanted to meet. One thing that may not be known, that I was supposed to marry my daughter off in October. Well, October is when I got my liver transplant. So she graciously postponed the wedding until the following April with the promise that I would walk her down the aisle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So being in the hospital for so long, I lost all my muscle mass. I got down to about 120 pounds. Bones and skin was all I was. And so it took a long time to recover and a lot of milestones to get there. And I wanted to make sure I was healthy. One, I had made that promise to my daughter, and I didn't want to break that promise. And I did. I walked her down the aisle. So as I got better and better, I said, finally I just got to the time, I said, okay, I'm getting good, I want to reach out. Well, at that time, during all this, when my liver had gone bad, it killed my kidneys. Right about the time I was ready to reach out, I got a phone call saying, it's time to come get your kidney. Right? So I was fortunate enough to get a kidney as well. So I went through that recovery, and once I got normal again, that's when I reached out. And what do you say? I didn't know what to say.
I hear so many people say
Well,
that.
I-
They don't know how to like say thank you. I mean, like you,
No.
how do you say thank you for a life?
Yeah.
And so many people don't write because they don't know what to say.
Right.
I remember the phone call because you literally, like, I knew I didn't know your voice and it was a local number, and you literally said, Miss Maggie, you don't know me, but, and I remember just like crying because I knew immediately that you had to have been one of like his recipients, and like I will never ever forget that, like ever. So
Now I can remember, I don't know how I got it or how I saw it, but I remember seeing the letter that she had received about who was the recipient of Caiden'S organs.
Right. We send out just a
Right, a generic.
yeah, it'll
Right.
say
Male.
male, female,
Yeah.
and their whatever.
Age range.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's a male in his 50s, whatever.
Yeah.
That was it. So that's kind of how I introduced myself to her. Right. And so I don't remember the whole conversation, I'll be honest.
I don't
Because
either.
so much
I
is
don't
going
either.
through my mind and everything, and I'm sure it's hers as well. And I do remember that I had to cut the call short. I had a meeting to go to. So at that time, I had just gotten back to work, probably back to work for probably a couple of weeks. And
I remember in your letter, I had put a QR code in there, and I had made a YouTube.
I remember that.
I made a YouTube channel
Yeah.
because I wanted to make sure that even if y'all weren't ready to meet us, that y'all at least knew who Caiden was.
Yes.
Because that, and I remember you telling me, you have to be prepared for the best or the worst. Like, so don't send those letters because there may be a time that maybe one of them passed or one of them just didn't want to talk to you, and you have to be ready for that response. So I had to prepare myself too, and that's why I sent a QR code and downloaded pictures and videos of Caiden, so y'all could know Caiden even until you were ready.
yeah, and I think that now that you mentioned that, I do remember I was thinking about calling you before I had gotten my kidney. I was actually at the airport picking up my daughter in New Orleans, the one I had walked down the aisle, and I was like, it's about time I reach out. It so happened that the hospital had called me, and it was one of the social workers, and said, hey, just want to let you know, we do have a letter from your donor's family, and we also have some pictures and stuff like that. Do you want them sent to you? And I said, yes. I said, funny you should say. I said, I'm sitting here at the airport, and I said, I was just thinking about that. So during that time, it was a whole lot of moving around. We were just getting into a new house. We were moving back and forth. I was very, very weak. Couldn't do much on my own. Couldn't do much to help my wife and my family. So I thought the letter got lost.
Okay, well, back up because the letter did get lost for a while, right?
Yeah, it did.
I mean,
they couldn't find them. Yeah.
because of her persistence, we got there. We got the letters to the transplant center.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but no, I'm just saying it wasn't. She was persistent, and I think if you had never called back to check, then we would have known
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you
and-
didn't receive them. You know.
No, and I didn't receive them, and like I said, right after that is when I had gotten my kidney, so my focus changed again. Right. So here I was back on the road with recovery and stuff like that.
Right.
And so, like I said, I got healthy, and I was like, I never did receive those letters, or that letter and those pictures that you spoke of. So I called them. And they said, well, we don't have the original, we don't have the pictures, but we do have a copy. We can send you the copy. Okay, so I got the copy. That's how I remember finding out the donor, the list of the recipients and stuff like that. And that's how I had come to find out a few months later, we were cleaning up, because like I said, we had just moved. I found the original letter and the pictures.
What made you write? What made you find the courage to write?
I don't really know if it was like a courage to write. It was like I think it was just something that I was clinging to because it was all I had left. So it was just something like I knew like I needed to know who had a part of my son in them, because it was like, I'd already said, like, our family just got bigger. Like, we've lost, but then, like, our family gotten bigger. And I needed to know them. I needed to, like, be sure they were okay. And, like, and I think a lot of it was just making sure that Caiden'S organs were okay, you know, like that it just all worked out. And I think that's one of the first things, like, I asked you and LeBaron was like, are you good? Like, is all your, like your results, everything's working great? And, you know, and it was. And that, I think, was my biggest thing, is like, I just needed to know they were good and that Caiden, like, was still lit, like, you know.
What about now? Y'all kind of developed a friendship. Y'all developed a family.
Oh, we're
right?
family, yes.
And
That's what I said. He could be my dad, but I feel like he's my little kid. I mean, well, almost. Well, no, not that, not quite. But it's like, I feel like I hover over him like he's my kid, because, you know, so it's kind of like the weirdest relationship. You know, it's like, hey, buddy, like, you know, and
Sometimes you
eating
feel, and
right,
sometimes,
taking your vitamins.
Yeah.
and I don't have a sister, but sometimes you just feel like a sister. It's like,
oh yeah, I like that.
That's
That's
a
good.
good one.
Yeah. That works. That works better than dad, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Right, because y'all been talking and interaction, but y'all still keep learning more and more about each other's stories.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a journey.
And I think, like, even with your book, going back to that, you had this book written for a while, except you didn't have the ending to it.
Right.
And it did not come quickly to find the ending. But through your persistence, walking through your grief, meeting Caiden'S recipients.
Yeah, like this whole book had been written for years, and honestly, like, it was kind of at a standstill. And I thought when Philip and I married, like, that was going to be my aha moment, but it wasn't. It was like when Caiden passed, it was just like God was like, write about it, like, just, this is your ending. And it was just, I think it was kind of freeing to me. One of the biggest things that I told you all a while ago, like, my question to God, when I said, you know, God, why did you only give him to me for 20 years? And it was like God so clearly spoke to me and said, I didn't give him to you. I mean, I didn't take him from you, I gave him to you for 20 years. And it was such a perspective change, because it was like, God, you chose me. It's like, you didn't take him from me, you gave him to me. And I just know through, like, when I felt that, it was like, I was enough. Like, you chose me, like, I was enough for him. So this story, it's gonna change somebody. So I think that's just kind of where, and it was my healing a lot. Like, this was a lot of healing and journeys that were new. Like Lopa, like I was like no to Lopa when they first came in. Like, I didn't want them to, but it was just like, how can you almost deny
It
that?
was your baby. You're protecting your baby.
Yeah, you know, but then when you see this, like, all Caiden wanted to do was be a dad and be married, and then, like, I didn't know that about you walking your daughter down the aisle. Like, that's all Caiden wanted was a family. And so it's like, I kind of see, like, him being, like, living through that, like, with you. So, and I always ask him, like, do you like oatmeal pies now? Because all Caiden ate was oatmeal pies. You know, like, what changed? Like, what changed?
Oh, I'm not supposed to have them, but I love them.
He can tear up.
Caiden loves some honey buns.
Oh, honey buns.
So, yeah, but, you know, just finding, like, different little quirks that were, like, different about them. Like, if anything changed, like, it's fun to, like, think that, you know, oh, that's Caiden, you know, so.
You know, you spoke a while ago about us still getting to know each other.
Yeah.
Right? She had posted something on Instagram the other day, and that's the only social media I have. But anyhow, about the
Surrender.
yes, the surrender.
It was one of the excerpts in the book.
Yeah, and she asked about a certain topic about it and stuff like that, and it really, really, really touched it, right? And we had a lengthy texting conversation about a few things. And I told her, I said, you know what? I said, I think it's about time that you and I, and whomever, just sit down and start talking and understanding, get to know each other even on a deeper level, right? And go back further and I mean, we're family. That's how we consider them. And
When you meet Maggie,
you're right.
you you just want to be part of the band.
And that's what she said.
And if you don't want to, I'm going to make you.
Right, and she had said something the other day about, about being around. It's comfortable to be around. I said, well, you make it easy. It's just real easy to be around the whole family. And so, but no, I told her, I said, we need this, there's little stuff we shared at that moment that neither one of them knew about each other, right? And it's kind of like, hey, if we're going to be family, we need to be family. And stuff like that.
Right. So, anyways, there's a part of why we wrote that in the book, and part of a never seen behind the scenes at our family and what's going on. So I appreciate y'all both being here and being a part of this book in our lives, and it's been a blessing for sure.
I would say the book challenges, I think, anybody at a certain level of just human kindness. And like you said, going deeper on a different level, but just understanding like what persistence and love and resilience is and faith. And this book is like sitting down with you and listening to you talk. And so that's what's so beautiful about it. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for putting this out to the world.
Thank you. All right, guys. I think it's almost time for our book sign to be over. So, see ya. Bye. Finish.